Bungie, I really didn't need this today. I'll be honest with you. I really didn't mean that. I really didn't need this today. Hello, everyone. My name is Streku Utasa from Stronghold Central, putting the tank back in Titan, and Bungie's making some changes to Stronghold that I'm not sure I'm happy with, and in fact, I'm pretty damn sure I'm not happy with. So, full disclosure, I've been gone for a while. I've been having some really bad mental health issues the past few weeks. It's been pretty awful. And then yesterday, I got some pretty terrible news from my girlfriend. Or, you know what? That's okay. I'm not going to say anything more about that. But then about an hour after that happened, the TWAB came out. And we have a sandbox tuning preview for Ash and Iron. And guess what they're doing to Stronghold? They're completely reworking it. So I want to talk about this today. It's going to be a spreadsheet kind of day. I got the DR calculator from Kyo But Stupid open right now. I'm going to try to hold it together for this video because I know I'm going to get a billion comments talking about the Stronghold changes, so I kind of have to make something. But I'll be real, kind of upset because 16 seconds of Resto 2 is really hard to give up. And I have about, so I started in Season of the Deep, right? Stronghold has been grafted onto my Titan ever since I got it, back when Xur sold it one random week during Season of the Deep. And I have 1,500 hours in Destiny 2. I am a sword fanatic. I have definitely about 1,500 hours in Stronghold alone. I even made a whole YouTube channel around this exotic. So to say that I am terrified that the reason I enjoy the game is going to be destroyed soon is an understatement, especially because of the stuff I've been going through the past few weeks. So, I mean, hell, dude, I took off work today because I couldn't handle what happened yesterday. I'm recording this at 2:58 a.m. because I can't sleep. So let's get into it. So, sandbox tuning preview for Ash and Iron Titan. And Ash and Iron are working the exotic Stronghold Titan arms. For a while now, they've provided immense defensive benefits. That's why I liked them. But those benefits really proved to be valuable to players outside of niche situations. I disagree. But I'll get into that later. We're redistributing the power that this exotic provides to make build crafting with it more interesting, doubling down the tank fantasy to make moment-to-moment decisions more engaging. We'll get to that. We'll get to the tank fantasy in a moment. So, the reason why Stronghold was extremely good before this is that, yeah, you could do the really annoying and dumb flash counter arc Stronghold build. Y'all know how I feel about that. I think it's not very good. I think it's very slow. I feel it's very boring. It's extremely safe. And you will get through the Grandmaster that you're doing, but you're going to get through it in twice the time. Because people usually think about the Heresy version, which had flashover from the artifact, which had 150% more damage on bolt charge. Now it's not really good. I'll be real. The build basically got nerfed by 150% because no flash charge. So, yeah, that build exists, but it's kind of ass, at least in my opinion, because instead of using bolt charge to kill your enemy, just hit them with the heavy attack and have 16 seconds of restoration too. So, Perfect Guard HUD buff now appears as a bar and stacks no longer drop off of 10 seconds after blocking damage. They persist until they are spent. I actually kind of like this. I think that's a really cool way to do it. I like the idea of having a bar instead of having to just be like, okay, I have 50 stacks of Perfect Guard, which means I have X seconds of Resto 2, which means I can use this attack because I have this charge rate on this sword. I can then block again before my Resto 2 is over. It's like I can just worry about spending them whenever I want to spend them. Blocking larger amounts of incoming fire gains stacks at a slower rate, while blocking lower amounts of incoming fire stacks at a faster rate. I don't really know what this means exactly. I assume it's like if you get shot by 20 dudes, you'll gain them slower than you do now, and if you get shot by one guy, you'll gain like 20 stacks at once, which again, I'm fine with that. That's neat. I think that's okay. Now, this is the part that really kind of interests me, but also scares me, and then the second part pisses me off, so we're going to get to that in a moment. Landing a direct hit on a light or heavy sword attack consumes 50% of your perfect guard charge, exhausting enemies hit and instantly healing you and nearby allies. 1. How much is the heal? And 2, this is a direct nerf because it no longer grants restoration. Restoration 2 is an absurdly strong healing mechanic in the video game. It's fucking insane. And you got 16 seconds of it if you are patient and blocked enough, which is kind of ridiculous. Now, exhaustion, which is what this is getting now, is kind of ass. Exhaustion is 10% damage reduction. It's 10%. Bungie, that's nothing. That's actually just nothing. Like, you might as well not give it to it. Which I know with the DR formula, I know that reducing your enemies... I made a Renewal Grasp build a while back, but I never actually made a video on it because of previously mentioned mental health issues. I didn't really want to get in front of a camera, but now Bungie has kind of forced my hand. Reducing your enemy's damage actually does do more than just giving yourself more damage reduction, because let's say enemies doing 100% damage and you have 70% DR. I mean, I can show you with this real quick. Let's look at Renewal Grasps. Where's Renewal Grasps? There we go. Renewal Grasps, let's see, right now I'm at 40% DR. If I put on Renewal Grasps, I'm at 70% DR, which is crazy. That's a lot. I basically just gained a whole, like, additive 30%, if you think about it that way. Now, if we look at exhaustion, I got 6% more DR. Yay! Now, what's nice is that 6% is not going to go down very much when we add more DR onto it, but we'll get into that later. Now, landing, this is the part that actually has me interested, because I've said for a long time that if Stronghold had any kind of bonus to sword damage, it might have a chance of being meta for bosses like Crota and Herald of Finality, you know, bosses that you can sword. And they've done it in probably the worst way possible, but we'll see. Landing a sword hit while at max perfect guard stacks will now fully refill your sword energy instead of offering infinite guard duration. This enables back-to-back heavy attacks or allows immediate ability to block again. Now, for all swords that are not the Lament, you do not need max guard energy at all. And in fact, with old Stronghold, because you have infinite guard duration, you don't need any... You need 1% energy to have full sword capabilities. You need infinite. You need 1 sword energy, and like, look how fast the charge rate on Sinancia is. This is with 1 Lucent Blade. I don't need to get my instant heavy attack back because I can do 1 light, 1 heavy. Like, look! I don't need that, Bungie. I guess for swords like the Lament, this is going to be really cool because Lament, you kind of need the full energy to do the combo. But I don't need this. Now that it it does fully heal. Okay, I actually didn't see that. It now fully heals you and nearby allies. It no longer grants restoration. This is cool, but like, if you wanted to heal your allies, just run Banner of War. Banner of War is one of the best aspects in the entire game for Stronghold because it gives you some really reliable chip healing. It gives you more sword damage, and it also heals your allies. Like, that's insane. Like, this, they basically are giving it shitty Banner of War, but without the things that make Banner of War really good for Stronghold. This is the part that pisses me off. Gradually game up to 50 guard resistance and 50 guard endurance based on the number of perfect guard stacks instead of the previous plus 100% guard resistance, meaning you'll be able to build craft your sword perks a bit more to maximize your defensive or offensive prowess. Bungie, I didn't want to build craft with my sword perks more. I wanted to run Swordmaster's Guard. 1, it's called Swordmaster, which sounds dope, and 2, it gives you more charge rate. I don't need to build craft with my... okay. Also, you're only giving me 50 guard resistance now? Now, I will say, I'll get into that in a moment. I'll get into why 50 guard resistance is basically fucking nothing. Gain 30% DR for 1.5 seconds upon exiting Sword Guard, instead of getting resist 4 while blocking. That makes me so fucking sad. This is now a generic source of DR and can stack with other sources of resist. Now let's go ahead and calculate some damage resistance, all right? Now, I'm going to have tier 5 new gear bonus because, it's Stronghold's getting featured, which is awesome. That's what I was hoping for. Didn't hope for this, but... So now we have 49.43% DR. Let's go ahead and exhaust the enemy because we're playing Stronghold, and I guess exhaust is what we want now. 54.48% DR. Now, I'm actually going to take Alpha Exhaust real quick and go back to tier 4 new gear bonus because I want to show y'all how much DR you got with Strongholds just in general. Strongholds, boom, there we go. 50%. I have Sword Guard value at 100%. Let's go to Sword Guard right here. Turn that on to yes. You had 97.91% DR, which is absurd. That's a lot. That is a fuck ton. That is enough for your recovery stat to kick in. I mean, hell, if you put on critical health damage resist as well, that's 98.62. I have been able to tank bosses without having to worry about using flash counter or anything like that because my DR is so high that it doesn't matter. My recovery is going to heal me. Now, with new Stronghold, let's go ahead and just calculate without the Stronghold guard resistance whatsoever. Let's say we're running heavy guard and we have the tier 5 new gear bonus. So we're still at 95.95%. The Stronghold resist times 4 blocking doesn't matter a lot when it comes to the frontal shield. But when it comes to the back of your character, so let's put on Strongholds, the 50% DR, and let's take off the Sword Guard. So on the back of your character, you're getting 74.71% resistance. This is with the chest mod, by the way. I need to make that clear. So you were getting 74% DR, which is really nice, honestly. So if you got hit in the back by accident, you were kind of fine. Especially you had something like Banner of War going on, or Resto 2 going on. Now without that, you're just back to 49% DR, which is fine, but you're losing out on 25%. And now let's get to the part that kind of pisses me off. So Sword Guard resistance is kind of ass. Let's go ahead and grab... Let's take the Senetia, for example, right? It has 0 guard resistance on Enduring Guard. 0. Absolutely none. So right now, we are at 95.95% DR with 100 guard resistance. Let's see how much we have when we have 0. 91.15? That's odd. It's almost like guard resistance as a stat kind of sucks. It's not a lot of DR per, from what I can kind of understand, is it's basically like a, oh god, I don't know the number exactly, but you can kind of think about it like, let's see, is like resist 4 getting to that number? It kind of is. It's kind of like a 40% DR value, but DR stacks multiplicatively in this game, so the more DR you have, the less DR matters. And I'll get to why that, again, kind of pisses me off in a moment. Because you don't really need more guard resistance. I kind of use Stronghold for the 50% DR on the back and for the infinite guard. I didn't use it for the infinite, or like the extra guard endurance and guard resistance. I didn't really use it for the extra guard resistance. I didn't do that. So this entire change does literally nothing but nerf Stronghold. It does nothing but kill the exotic. This change pisses me off. Gain 30% DR for 1.5 seconds upon exiting Sword Guard instead of gaining resist X4 while blocking. So, instead of gaining 50% DR while you are doing the thing that the exotic is designed to do, you instead gain 30% DR for 1.5 seconds. So let's go ahead and pop on, let's see, what's the source of 30% DR? Let's go ahead and look at this real quick. Song of Flame for allies is 30% DR. I'll put that on. Why the heck not? So at 93.80% for 1.5 seconds. 1.5 seconds is fucking nothing, by the way. That is such a short amount of time. It's ridiculous. Let's take off Sword Guard. 64.60% DR. So, let's see. With Song of Flame, or with the Stronghold DR, you're at 50%. Or sorry, without it, you're at 50. Now you're at 64. That's not going to keep you alive That's not going to keep you alive as much as Resto 2 is going to, especially in higher end content like Grandmaster. You're still taking... I guess let's go ahead and exhaust the enemy, because, you know, that's what Stronghold does now. Dude, an extra 4% from exhaustion. 68.14%. Bungie, I did not need this. I was having fun. I was really positive about Destiny 2. I was having a good time. It was a good escape game from the mental issues that I've been having recently. I have been struggling pretty hard with my mental health. I got some really terrible news from my partner yesterday. Turns out stuff had been going on that I did not know about. Y'all can make of that what you will. And now this is happening, and I'm worried that my favorite exotic in the entire game is going to be brutally murdered for no reason. Just nerf flash counter. I don't even fucking use it. I don't even use flash counter. I don't enjoy that gameplay loop. I enjoy banking the 16 seconds of Resto 2 and then going on a killing spree. That's what I enjoy about Stronghold. I enjoy all of the really weird interactions that the Resto 2 has. Did you know, if you have, you know, let's just show this off, because it's genuinely really freaking cool. So let's go here. Let's do this. Let's grab Facet of Purpose. This is a really neat Stronghold thing that I figured out recently, and I know someone's going to say, like, oh, I knew that all the time. But I learned this recently, and it just made me fall in love with the exotic even more. Let's go to Cabal or something, and let's get some freaking orbs real quick. Yeah, let's get some orbs. Yeah, there's an orb right there. Make the enemies attack me. God, and right after Synancia comes out too. I'm so sad. Let's turn them off, and then check this out. So my restoration's at 10 seconds right now. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, back to 16. That's really cool. I was using this on Solar Titan with Fire Spites. Any source of restoration just gives you back your whole 16 seconds, which is awesome. I've been using this on Prismatic with Hammer of Soul and Facet of Purpose. I've been using this on Solar. You just have to get the 16 seconds, then go on a killing spree. Attrition Orbs, the buff on swords, goes crazy with that. You can just have infinite Resto 2 while you're beating the shit out of a boss if you have Attrition Orbs, which, like, Swanbonum, an incredibly good sword, has that perk. So, but I guess that interaction's gone now. Because, fuck me, I guess. I don't know, man. Like, what? They got rid of that interaction. They got rid of being pretty safe while on block, which one of my favorite things to do in the entire game was on extremely hard content. Like, Ride of the Nine did this a lot on Spire of the Watcher. I would just hold the boss in the spawning room while everyone else did mechanics. I would just hold it down. It didn't bother anyone because I was tanky enough that you could just sit there and chill while everyone else did mechanics. It was really, really fun. Hell, before we got to tier 5 feats on Desperate Ritual, I would swap to Stronghold and just survive on the platforms against the imps. They wouldn't be able to kill me because I had Stronghold, which was really fun. I wanted to do... There's a tier list video that Aegis made where he ranks every Titan exotic in the entire game, and he calls Stronghold like the 3rd best Titan exotic because what it gave you defensively was absurd. And I agreed. But he said that if Bungie made a negative 80 power activity, that's what he would bring. I was going to do a negative 80 activity. I had already done negative 70. Or not negative 70, negative 60. I was going to upload it, but mental health issues. I was going to do a negative 80 power activity, and I was going to lead with Aegis saying that, and then go into like a solo ops at negative 80 power, and it was going to be really funny. I'm not going to be able to do that now. They've killed it. Like, just to show y'all. So, I have Enduring Garden, right? I got 94 Garden Endurance, right? This is how long you can block with 94 Guard Endurance. This is not what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about losing Infinite Guard. Yeah, it's fucking annoying. Yeah, it's going to make Lament infinitely worse on Strongholds. But that's not what I'm really scared about. What I'm worried about is the lack of resto and the lack of resistance. Because now you're, instead of giving me a really unique and really interesting mechanic, you are now giving me 30% DR and exhaustion. I don't care. I genuinely don't care about that. And I wish you had just left it alone, or nerf flash counter, or nerf to, like... what I would have done with Stronghold was give it the barricade. Like, why not give it the barricade, like, taunt ability, making enemies shoot the barricade? Why didn't you give it? You said you're doubling. Okay, now I'm actually just mad because you said you're doubling down on the tank fantasy, but you didn't give it the taunt ability from barricade, like Unbreakable has. I use Unbreakable on Prismatic and Void Stronghold because I can't get the boss's attention sometimes to tank for my allies, and instead of walking speed while guarding with a sword is now increased when moving in all directions instead of only forwards. Awesome. Cool. Man, that's so neat. I'm so glad that we're giving up everything that makes the exotic really fun and cool for that. Man. You know, I'll sometimes play other builds. I'll sometimes play Icefall Mantle. I was going to make a video on that, but then, you know, mental health issues popped up. And I was really enjoying it. It's a really fun build, you know. Icefall Mantle is really cool. I like it a lot. But every time I would play this build, I'd be like, damn, I kind of wish I was playing Stronghold right now. And, well, looks like that might change. I've been ranting for 20 minutes. I'm kind of a sad sack of shit right now, for multiple reasons. This being, honestly, one of them. Destiny 2's been a lot of fun for me, and if you haven't noticed, I haven't uploaded in a while, and I haven't even been active on my own Discord in a while. And that's because, again, I've been having mental health issues, and I really didn't need this, Bungie. I really didn't need you killing my favorite exotic in the entire game. I didn't need you killing the thing that got me into Destiny 2 in the first place. Awesome. Well, I guess I'll make a video on it when it comes out, and we'll see if it's as bad as I think it's going to be, but the DR calculator does not lie, and again, I just couldn't care less about getting full sword energy back. If it was like, you gain sword energy proportional to the amount of perfect guard stacks you have or something, then maybe, but you only need 1% sword energy to get max damage every heavy attack unless you're using something like Lament. So, I don't care. Goodbye, everybody, and I guess I'll see you when Ash and Iron drops, because I don't think I'm going to make another video until then. I'm genuinely pretty upset. Goodbye.